The man stepped off the front and walked to the back where Kari was. He took a few bags from next to her, taking them over to the back door. She watched as he did it quickly, only dropping them off and ringing a bell. Kari peeked over and had seen a woman with a fancy long and puffed purple dress. She even had a purple feathered hat to match. The man pointed at the bags he set down, and the woman simply told him to carry them inside. So he did, leaving Kari in the wagon to wait until he came back minutes later with a small smudge of purple on his left cheek. "Who was that?" Kari asked, still peeking. The man did not respond and climbed onto the front, taking the leads of the horses. Kari asked again, and still no response from him. She was silent the whole way as he led the horses through the city again. Kari sat up and tried to manage her balance as the turning came more often with the wagon, though she had a weak stomach and eventually felt it as the wagon stopped at their final destination. "Is there someplace?" Kari held in her breath. "I can vomit." The man quickly went off the front and to the back, looking at Kari. She covered her mouth and had her eyes closed shut. He grabbed her hand and helped her get off the wagon. Kari opened her eyes again to a bucket and let barely anything but stomach acid spill out of her mouth. "Everything out?" the man asked, holding the bucket in his hands. Kari nodded and backed away, slowly squatting with her knees off the ground. She held herself by leaning against the wagon for a moment, catching her breath. The man speedily walked far away and dumped out the bucket. He came back only to fill it with water and dump it out again. "Stay here for a moment." The man quickly walked off, leaving Kari again. "Wait." Kari's throat slightly burned. "Where are you going?" She slowly tried to stand up straight, yet the man came back just as fast, like he never left. He held a cup of cold water up, helping Kari drink slowly. Her throat was slightly numbed, and after a few minutes, her stomach felt better. "Thank you." Kari sighed and smiled, looking at the man. "Motion sickness is a drag." He backed away from Kari and placed the cup down on the wagon end. Kari looked at him, noticing his blonde beard again. It still shined even through the fact that they were behind the shadow of a building. They were still outside in the dim sunlight, but the shade was not too dark either. "Why do you hide your face?" Kari asked out of pure curiosity. "That should not be of your concern." The man spoke, slightly turning away. Well, I think your bottom half looks good." Kari gestured to her chin, smiling. "And the beard looks really nice. I like it." The man looked and barely smiled. "Oh, thank you." "I finally made you smile." Kari giggled in excitement. The man immediately turned away and walked off to a building next to them. Kari walked after him, following through a wooden doorway. The two stayed together inside a tavern where the man served others. He still wore a hood to hide his face, but the cloak was off, showing his unexpectedly muscular body. Kari barely thought much of it, but she was impressed and slightly in awe. It was simply a surprise that hadn't been expected in the slightest. A day had gone by slowly as Kari waited for his shift to end. The moment he was done and changed to casual clothing, he went to Kari. She took a light nap that was at a table alone in the corner. Kari. The man lightly tapped on her shoulder. Kari slowly lifted her head, unaware of what he may have said. Who? Oh. You do not have to stay here with me. The man stood over the table on the side. But you saved me from certain death, seeing that it was 2 years. Kari smiled. I have to repay you somehow. Do you need help with anything? No. You need to be able to go and live your life. The man barely sighed, pulling out a bag from his pocket. I will give you some mashk to help you get on the right track. No money. Kari quickly stopped his arm and calmly let go. I will work for it if I need to. The man ignored it and placed the bag down, quickly walking away. Kari took the bag and attempted to follow him as he went out the front doorway. Though as soon as he stepped out, he was nowhere to be seen. Kari glanced to every side, but it was already dark out and she could barely see anything. She tried to ask the tavern keep about him, yet they never knew anything but his cover name. Sorry, hun, but he goes by Spruce. The tavern keep shrugged her shoulders. Maybe you can come by tomorrow for his evening shift, but I doubt he'll show up if he was running from you. Oh. Kari looked down at the bag he left. I see. Thank you. Kari walked away to leave the tavern. The city was big and almost crowded with people. Some carried lamps in their hands. Most hung above their heads from poles. Kari wandered around, looking for a spot to rest her tired legs. End of section 20.